Hi Johannes,
Hi.
hope you're well. Let's start with Jose Cordoba. I mean, you said after the game in midweek he was going to have a scan. How's that sort of looking ahead of this weekend?
Better than expected. So most likely in the squad for tomorrow. It will be a late call for us to take, but we will try and hopefully he will be in.
But even that, given how it looked on the other night initially, is massive, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. So it was a. Yeah, of course it was good for us. So yeah, and obviously also for him.
Would it be your expectation, even if he is in the squad tomorrow, that he'd still go away with Panama in the international break and play some of those games? Or again, is there a decision to be made on that?
Again, it's a decision to be made. We have to see him tomorrow, and also if we're going to play him, how much or if he can play and so on, and then take that. That's a call for after the game for us to take and see how everything goes.
What about Ashley Barnes? I think you said last week that he was sort of back in a protective boot. Has there been any sort of update on that and whether he'll sort of need surgery on that issue again?
I don't think surgery, but I think that boot will rest that Achilles for some weeks. It will be a 3 week for him in a boot. I think we are on week 2 now. So hopefully after that he will feel better, and then we can start to put him a little bit out there on the grass, and then again after a couple of weeks hopefully back with the team, and then he needs to be back in shape before he can, of course, be ready for game selection. So it will take some time.
I was going to say, how difficult has it been for him? Because he's obviously an experienced player. I'm sure he's had big injuries before, but to miss pre-season, to miss obviously change of manager and all of the things that come with that must have been quite hard for him to sort of deal with.
I think it is, and I think to get a 100% honest answer, you have to talk to him about it. But I think it's never easy for a football player to be out, because you feel no matter what we do and no matter what he will do, you feel a little bit outside the team, and you're not really involved with the fun parts that are, of course, the games and the feelings in and around the changing room. But he's a good guy, and he's always around. He's always in the changing room in games. Try to support his teammates and the team and so on. So he tries everything he do, and like I said, we also try to involve him as much as possible so he stays close. But it's never easy, because of course he's limited from doing what he loves to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'm right in saying it that, well, at the full-time whistle, certainly on the other night, it looked like there were a few players with probably tiredness, I think you said, and there were a few ice packs about. So is the squad looking okay? Are there any sort of other injury concerns heading into this weekend?
Yeah, I think they are. That's how it is when you play a 3-game week. Then after the second one, and it will be the same after the game tomorrow, that lads will be tired. That's how it is. That's also learning and development. That's, to be able to push the body to the limit and do what you can do. We will do some changes, and we will also do some in-game changes tomorrow, maybe a little bit earlier than what we did so far this season. That could be a plan, so we can make sure we have energy for 90 minutes. But it's also learning to be able to play 3 games in a week. It will not be the first time this season it will happen.
No, and that's a good point, and you sort of answered the next question I was going to ask, which is about 3-game weeks and whether you have to do anything differently. But it sounds like you are going to have to, because of not just the nature of probably the games that you've played, but also the intensity of that game on Tuesday night. I'm sure it took a lot out of those.
Yeah, it did. Fortunately, we have had a day more in between compared to a Derby and Leeds games. So I hope we have used the time well. I think we have to rest them as much as possible, and then of course also prepare for the game tomorrow on pitch. We did most of the stuff today, so hopefully they'll be ready again. But like I also said to the guys out there today, that expect that there will be more changes in the game tomorrow, and also expect, like I said, it can be that we will do substitutions a little bit earlier than normal. That's how it is. But of course we also dependent on some guys that are actually able to play 3 games in a row. And that's, we get some answers tomorrow, but my feeling is that we are in a good place. There's a good energy out there. There's a great belief in the things that we do, and even though it was a tough game for us Tuesday night, there was still some very good moments in it, which everyone can see, and that affects, of course, also the mood and the energy in the group.
When there is such a quick turnaround, I know you mentioned you've sort of been out on the pitch today, but are you more sort of in the sort of meeting rooms and doing a lot more sort of analysis and video work rather than probably physical work? Yeah, and is there a difference that you sort of have to apply to that as a coach?
The load is more a mental load these days, which is still something we have to be aware of, because we're not just feed them with information all day long. but we have to feed them with the most important information, and that is what we try to do. But of course, there is more sessions in the analysis room, and a little bit more details and stuff to be done in there. That's how it is. They're used to it, and like I said, there's a great energy around the group at the moment. There's a great belief that we can go out there tomorrow and get a good performance and a win.
I think we've spoken over the last couple of weeks about sort of attacking injuries that you've had.
Yeah.
Emilio Mendez, I think there's been lots of talk about him potentially coming in. He's obviously someone that you know very well. I know that you sort of spoke about him in the Danish press a month or so ago. Is it fair to say that he's one that you'd like to get into the building, obviously with those injuries that you've got at the moment?
It's fair to say.
Can you give any indication of quite how close that is?
I think that was the best indication I can give you, that it is maybe also more than fair to say.
In an ideal world, or is there any possibility that he could be involved tomorrow if all things went well, or is that going to be a bit too tight?
Of course, something needs to be official before we can talk about that. Of course, if it is, then it's something we will try to do. But yeah, we need to make sure that things get official before.
If things were to be made official, what sort of player is he? He's obviously someone you know well. You've worked with him before. What sort of qualities would he provide? On the basis, of course,
he's maybe the best characteristics. He's a game player. You can see he strives in games. He likes the intensity in games. To be involved and have a lot of actions. He plays with a lot of intensity, and like I said, likes to be involved, likes to be in the box, be intense in his pressing game, and so I think a good player for us, if we can get him into the team, he will give us some options up front. He can cover different positions. He can play as a 9, he can play as a 10, he can play a little bit on the left side. So it could be a great value for us.
And as a human being as well, someone that you know well, speak to us a little bit about sort of his character and what he's like as a sort of human being.
Yeah, which he will also add some of course quality to the training, but also his personality in training. He loves to train. He loves to be out there. He's often that, at least from what I know, sometimes we actually have to pull him in to say, okay, now it's done. Now not anymore for now, because we have a game tomorrow or a game in a couple of days. So, but that's good for an environment. Players that want to do that little extra and want to push the group and want to push the limits all the time. And I think he has that personality. So, like I said earlier in the window, I think our strategy was this window to reduce the average age a little bit. I think we managed to do that. So he was maybe not in the beginning a target for us, but now with the injury situation, it could be a target for us. Next question now.
just one more, I promise. But do you envisage that being it in terms of the free agent market, or will you keep one eye open because of the injuries that you've got in
No. It's not a market that is really interesting for us. I think we did well in the transfer window. I think we managed to get a group together that is well covered in terms of experience, in terms of youth players coming up, in terms of quality in certain positions, and also competition in the group. So I think we did a great job in the summer transfer window. So this is only something we talk about now because we, of course, obviously suffered a little bit from injuries with O'Neill and Barnsley a little bit longer than expected. He keeps being out. So more players added to the list. Fastnack the same. So it's only because of that, because I think actually we managed a busy but a good window.
Yes, indeed. Let's speak about one that is official then. George Long and his new contract that was announced this morning. Speak to us a little bit about the thinking behind sort of why you've decided at this stage to offer him a new deal.
First of all, because I think he's definitely taken some steps where he, compared to where he started this preseason and to where he is now, where I think he's from week to week improving and getting better, and I think he's a great player for the environment, but also a player that can actually push for that goalkeeper position, which is important for us, that we don't have any goalkeepers in the group where they're just here to train. No, there should be an ambition for them to push to be the starter. And I think he's doing that, and I think he's taking some good steps, like I said, and then he's a fantastic person for the group and for the club. The professionalism, the way that he behaves, the way that he's supporting the guys, and it's often some, things like that you cannot really open up and let people from outside see, but I can definitely see it, and everyone in the club can see it, and that it creates a huge value to us.
And that competition you reference is important not just for him but also for Gunny, isn't it, in that number one spot, because it should bring his levels higher. It
is, and it's not only the goalkeeper position, it's all the other positions that we have. It's so important that there's players pushing, because it needs that, or it tells the player that is starting at the moment that he needs to do his best every day in training and every game that he plays, and also for us to have different opportunities and different possibilities. We can change and we can keep the momentum, and you can rest players here and there, and it's just so important for the group dynamics that there's no players that can feel safe in terms of just playing every Saturday.
Let's sort of turn our attentions to Hull then. What sort of game are you expecting from them? Because it feels like a team that, maybe similar to yourselves, have improved over the weeks of the season.
Yeah, definitely. 3 wins in a row, in form, and I think they've done well. It's maybe going to be one of the games so far this season that is most different compared to the others. They built the game in a different way compared to the other teams that we have played so far. They have a lot of rotations in the team. They have a lot of movements inside their positions as well. Something that we highlighted today for the players, that really needs concentration for us and focus to stay in it and to be aware of all these movements and how we deal with that, because it is a different way of building the game, and also involving the goalkeeper a lot, and centre backs daring to dribble and to step up to midfield positions and so on. So we have to be front-footed, but also focused on the collective stuff and how we deal with it as a collective unit.
I was going to say, because when you've got a team that is, like yourselves, really so keen to sort of implement their style of play, and you almost got two teams trying to do that. How difficult is it, I guess, to do it as the team hoping to do it, but also how difficult is it to stop the other team from doing that?
It takes the same amount of focus and concentration as for us to build the game on the ball. It's the same here, and I think definitely we are getting better and better and better, and I think our high pressing so far this season has been good. Of course, as we spoke about after the Leeds game, still some moments in the game where I think we can take more initiative without the ball still. But we are improving, and we're working hard, and I think that's the first step. But it takes, like I said, a lot of focus, a lot of awareness. But we solve everything football-wise collectively, and that will be the same approach tomorrow.
Yeah, and again, like you, and there were a lot of similarities last season as well. Norwich and Hull were competing with each other for those playoff spots last season. It feels like there's a lot of similarities again this season. New coach, new style of play, a lot of new players, and I guess probably like you guys, I find that it takes time to pull all of those strands together.
Yeah, that's how it is, and I've been sitting here for weeks now and telling them, it will take time, but still. We and I have an obligation to be able to perform still from week to week, because I cannot just sit here every week and tell the story that it will take time, and so that's how it is. Hopefully, and I still have the ambition that this team now can be even better. And when we look at the team in December, hopefully we're even better than now. That's how we try to work. But I think it goes the same with Hull. I think they also needed to implement the new style, and with all due respect, good things take time. But you can definitely see that they are getting better and better.
And with this being the last game before the international break, is there, obviously you want to win every game, but given the improvement that you've had, it would be really nice from sort of a narrative perspective, wouldn't it, to be able to look at this block of games and say that's a real step forward that we made. Yeah,
it's an important one. It's at home again. We like to give the fans another good experience at home. We like to give them a win. A great performance, scoring a lot of goals. That's always what we prepare for and try to do. It will be great because it gives us a good lead into the next block. And I think the last, what have we played here since the national break? Is it game 5? This I think we have done well, and with a win tomorrow, I think it's been a very, very good period.
Just a few more from me, but I mean, international breaks more generally, I think from a supporter's perspective, it's not the most enjoyable period. What's it like?
Also not for a coach.
That was going to be the question. It's not one that you enjoyed, but does it give you more time to sort of think or plan, or is it just sort of half wanting all of those players to come back in one piece?
Yeah, I think there's some things that we can do in in a week like that, and it's also more than a week because it's 10 days. Some of the players will have back Thursday, Friday before the game in Stoke. So it's more actually closer to 2 weeks' time. We can reflect a little bit. We can dig into details. We can look at some stats. We can look at situations in games. We can compare them. We can look for where we can improve and what we have to focus on in training and stuff like that. So it's actually okay to have this break in between where we can focus a little bit more on the details in our game model and how we are looking. Like I said, get some stats to back up what we're seeing, which is important for us going forward. So we try to use these days as good as possible. We also have the players the players that are not going with national teams. We have them in for sessions, so we can still work on the details more individually based, of course, because we don't have a big group. I think we are down to 5-6 players, but still important, and we will do our best to make sure that when everyone is back, we have even more knowledge on how we perform and how we can do even better going forward. So it's okay, and it gives us, like I said, a little bit time to reflect and go into details.
Obviously, we had a break last month, got another one next month. There's a lot of conversation at the moment about the amount of games that some players are playing. Do you think we have too many international breaks, particularly at this time of year? Because then they come back after the November break and you're into the run-up of Christmas, which in this country is a bit hectic.
Yeah, there is a lot. I don't think it's that important to talk that much about, because we cannot affect it. It is how it is, and at the end of the day, we are here to play games. That's our job, and the reason why I'm here and the coaching staff is here is to prepare the players for these games. So they are there, and we cannot affect it. We cannot change it. So we just have to make sure that we're ready. Last
one from me. I think the club are doing a few mental health initiatives around this game. Minute on silence, Samaritans on the front of the shirt. I mean, that speaks volumes about the type of club this is, isn't it? And how much it wants to be in the community and helping people. Yeah, it's fantastic. It tells a lot about who we are as a club, and I should not take the credit for that, because it's what's going on in the club here, and so many great ideas and so many good initiatives. And I think it's so important for a club, especially in the region that we are, that we take responsibility and that we are out there showing that we can support, and we are there to support in so many other areas than just football, but we can use football as a platform, and I think that's something that's fantastic. Or more or less always be open to ideas and suggestions to what we can do and support with, and just the stuff that we're doing tomorrow is hopefully going to support in a good way. There's only support from here. Brilliant. Thanks, Johannes. Good luck tomorrow. Thank you.
Thanks, Connor. Andy?
Brilliant. Hi, Johannes.
Hi.
Just one question here. How about the search for the first team coach? Has that moved on at all? Are you getting any closer to that?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Right. Can you tell us any more?
We are. We are down to a couple of candidates, of course, and we started with a little bit more and narrowed it in. So, like I said, with full support from the academy, and I think it's been really, really good. I mentioned it also last week, the support from Dec in the goalkeeper area, the support from Joe in the coaching area. It's been fantastic, because it gives us time and it gives us quality from day to day. But we are getting close, and I could also see some media stories on one of the candidates, which is fine. And I think sometimes, which I could also read, there can be different views on how things are going. But we are moving forward, and we took a decision to narrow the candidates into two. That's where we are, and I think we're doing the right stuff, and we're taking the right decisions, even no matter what's in the media. We know what's going on, and we are getting closer. But like I said, no rush, because at the end of the day, it's important we take the right decisions.
Yeah, I know you won't want to put a time frame on it, but do you reckon the next time you play in 2 weeks' time it'll be done?
Yeah, I hope so. I would say again, you asked me about what we can use time for in a national week. That's I'm available for a little bit more meetings, and of course we will have some more meetings in that week to see if we can finalize something, because of course obviously it will be good for us to get started on the backside of that week with a new coach in the group. But again, like I said, it's it's not something I go and talk to Ben about, saying it's we have to do it here. It's so important. No, it's important we find the right candidate, and just based on what I saw in the media the other day, I think we took the right decision by not moving forward with that guy. So I think we are getting closer.
Yeah, brilliant. Kamar is obviously part of the whole squad at the moment.
Yeah.
He's not getting much game time. What have you made of the start he's made at Hull, and you know, is he a player you're going to have to be conscious of tomorrow, because you know the talent he has got?
It's always a little bit tricky when players are returning. First of all, I hope that he will be shown respect. I know that there was a lot of things going on also in the media and also just around him as a person in his time here in the club. And I think it's important also that we as a club can respect that it is a tricky situation to be in as a football player. So that's the first thing I hope for in the game tomorrow. I always hope the best for the players that have been here. I don't hope that he's performing at his best tomorrow. That's just how it is. And then of course he's been into a start where I think he was starting in one of the games, maybe 4 or 5 games back, and then been on the bench for a couple of games as well. So he's off to a start where he maybe needs to find his position in the group and in the club, and he's definitely a player for the future also for Hull. So he will take a little bit of time, but I hope if he comes on tomorrow that he will be shown respect, but not more than respect than we are there to win.
Yeah. And just finally, I mean, talking about the mental health initiative tomorrow, it's interesting what you're saying about Ashley Barnes. How conscious are you of how your players are feeling mentally and the struggles that they go through throughout the season? Is that something that you sort of openly talk about as a squad?
It depends a little bit, because it also comes down to the individual. I think what is important for us is, which I also highlighted in one of the press conferences after one of the games, is that we can speak openly on and honestly about making mistakes and dealing with different and difficult situations in games. And I can give you an example. Actually, we spoke about the first half against Leeds the other day, and I involved the goalkeepers in that part because I was not fully satisfied with that. But for Angus, it was just it was just open for him and saying, he was also not satisfied with his performance in first half, and he felt that it was a little bit difficult for him, and he needed maybe to be a little bit more brave. And I think that's the conversations we need to have. Instead of avoiding them, I think we need to go into them and say, okay, how can we deal with it? How can we make sure that in the future we can get better in this? And I think first step is the awareness, and then second step is to have the conversation about it. It's the same with mental health. So the more the players they want to open up, the better for us, the more we can actually support. But it comes down to the individual. And for some, it's better to have conversations one-to-one with a sports psychologist. For some, it's better to open up in front of the group. For some, it's better something third or fourth. That's how it is. But we're always aware, and we try to be as aware as possible. We have our sports psychologist. He's always a part of the match day -1 preparation, so we can chip in with his views on players we have to be extra aware of. He's also there after the game, and also on the coaching office after the game, so we again can give his views and opinions on any specific players we have to talk to or any focus areas in the game we have to be aware of. So it is something where we try our best. We're definitely not perfect, but we try, and we try to create an environment where people can be open and feel that there's actually a freedom to be open.
Really interesting. Thanks, Johannes. Thank you.
Of course.
Thanks, Andy.